Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for having me here. My name is Penhleak Chan, but my friends also call me Pinky. It's just easier. I'm from Cambodia, and I'm working with a project that is called Open Development Cambodia. I'll tell you a bit about the project before I goes on and talk about the challenges that is faced by our project or organization. Open Development Cambodia is an open data website, and our job is to open up data and information on Cambodia's development with a focus on three basic sectors, with social, economic, and environmental development. And I'll show you why we do what we do. This is our website. We're an open data website, so basically this is the product. But what we do is also goes beyond just interacting with people on the site. And my job as a research and volunteer coordinator is to help ODC establishing institutional partnerships in a way that we build content while also engaging people to start dialogues about Cambodia's development trends and so on and so forth. So just a disclaimer, we don't work directly on anti-corruption, which is what everyone is doing here. But one way that we can relate to this conference is that we are trying to create transparency in terms of data and information on Cambodia's development, in a way providing a website that can be a platform for monitoring economic, social, environmental development, and we talk about natural resources allocations and public resources allocation before this morning. And this is a bit of our interactive map. It doesn't really show everything, and because the internet is slow, I'm not going to try and change anything like this. What I had originally put on that you can't see now is the blue thing you see, they are concessions for mining. There's no way for me to go back and add economic land concessions on top, which are these land deal, like land lease. The government would lease land for 70 or 90 years to corporation to establish some sort of industrial agriculture project and things like that, which has huge implications on land and land registration, and there's a lot of land grabbings and encroachment and so on and so forth. And what happened is that people always ask, okay, you are a small community and you're living in this village, and you're saying that this company coming in to take your land, can you prove it? And so it's the burden of proof. And small community cannot prove this because they don't have access to data and information. NGO can help them if they want to help them. So our idea is that can we provide information to people just as data and information, not sugarcoating, not advocating, not doing anything, but making sure that we can somehow help leveling the playing field. So cooperation can have access to this information, government can have access to this information the same way grassroots community can also have access to this, academics and students, vice versa. What you can see here, just a bit of it, but the green things are protected area, and as I said, blue things are mining concession. And this hydropower project, and this is interactive map, which means if you want to know about any of these dots or in this polygon, you can click on it and you can go and find the original document we provide for you here. The way that we see this is that there's a lot of development, quote unquote, that happening in Cambodia before the financial crisis. We had about anywhere from 7% to 11 or 12% growth. And the four major sectors, there's garment sector, there's construction sector, tourism, agriculture, and 70% of the population depend on agriculture. But the government doesn't really focus on agriculture so much in terms of development policy. And then we see all these land-related development and natural resources development that in terms of economic value, and if you're just looking at how much growth Cambodia was going through, you said, okay, it's a good thing. But then if you look closer into what's actually happening with the community, with the people, you can see that it's not really a perfect recipe for prosperity. And for us as a project, as an organization, we want to make sure that at least we can help make that information available, and we hope that research about Cambodia development will be informed if our information can inform those research, and that the same way that policy making can also be informed by the resources that we aggregate. So in short, we are an independent aggregators of data and information. We pull data and information from the major stakeholders in development field of Cambodia, from the government, from civil society organization, from news media, from grassroots community, if that level is also possible. And then to help people connect the dot, we create these briefings. And if you go to here, and you can click see forest cover, economic land concessions, and so on. And topical pages, which we include small introductions about a development topic. Economic land concession was one of the most contentious one. And we introduced why do Cambodia need this, what are the legal frameworks that govern this sector, who have the authority to grant concessions, and so on and so forth. No, don't do that. And then on this side, you can also have, you can click on the interactive map, which takes you to the main interactive map page, and you can look closely about each concession and learn more about concessionaire. And we also aggregate news about each topic, and we put out law document as well if you are a researcher and you want to do more investigation. And also we put out related publication that we aggregate from different research institute in Cambodia. So and that's the ideas of what we're doing. In terms of challenges, as you can see, this is in English, and the national language of Cambodia is not English. But we started this website in English because people that got involved earlier with this project are mostly expats and experienced researchers who've been working in Cambodia for 20 or 15 years. And our local team started to come in maybe about a year and a half or so ago, and the project is about 2 years old. So the challenge is we're not yet breaking the barrier toward information dissemination, because there's so many Cambodians who do not understand English. And if you're an English speaker, you have access to information on the internet already. But if you only speak Cambodian and write Cambodian, then you have more challenge toward acquiring information. With that, we did a testing, which we launched an election page in July before our national election. And we see that the numbers of visitors double, or the numbers of page view double. Normally we have about 3,000 to 5,000 page view every month. When we launched that election page, which we started in our native language first, and then we translate the whole thing to English, so it's a dual language page. And we saw about 120,000 page view just for that month. So we see the potential in having more people engage with our site and use information from our site. And if you have time, you can go and look more, and you'll understand that it really is a treasure trove of information and data, depending on what you're interested. And if you just want to look briefly, you'll see briefly. But if you dig deeper, you can get so much more information and connecting more dots. And we have a whole compendium of law over here. And we have a company profile where we give you all the information that we collect from, say, all the information that we collect from concessionaires, like what are they, how many of them are there? There are maybe 290 concessions for mining, 360 economic land concessions, so on and so forth. These are just examples, but you can go and look at each concession, and there's the original document for you to go and do further investigation. So it's a ways of kind of increasing transparency. And when we did this the first time, the Ministries of Agriculture, Forestry, and Fishery would put up about 16 concessions in 2008 or so. In 2011, and when we started, we were able to aggregate information that was published by the government, and we put out 160 economic land concession. By then, the government stepped up and put 80. And now we have about more than 200 concessions on our database, and they're also trying to keep up with that. So we see that as a good sign.